Hello and welcome to On the Other Hoof, a Christmas special only in the fact that we're actually doing a show this year. We promised more at the start of the year, however, work commitments and downright laziness meant that we didn't do as many as we were hoping to. However, we are back for a Christmas special, as we could call it, Three Idiots in a Santa Hat, and then Callum Adele. Myself, Luke Elder, is alongside Callum Adele, Michael Andrews and Adam Webb for this evening. Gents, it's been a while. We have seen each other in between the shows, but just remind us, how are we?
Very well.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full of the Christmas spirit.
Can I say something? I'm gonna make it 4.
Oh! I am so happy right now.
A shocking hat. It cost me £1 from Poundland earlier, but
it looks like it. I think you got ripped off.
Got a hole in, but it lights up
already. Why is there like the white bit already like gone into?
It's literally like it's genuinely come apart already, but it's got lights, so.
You were the kid at school, weren't you? Like the light up trainers.
And that already sucks.
First things first, Michael, you abandoned us last year for our Christmas special. You had been in Australia. You're now not in Australia. In 10 words or less, describe your experience.
Is that a word? Oh no, that's 4 words. Oh, I've lost it.
You've screwed this.
That's already got 10. No, it was awesome. It was amazing. Like, to do the things I did, it was great. And yeah, Australia is pretty epic. Melbourne Cup.
Who's a better horse, Arrogate or Winks?
Definitely Winks, and we're not going.
We won't get the stories out of the Prem.
Yeah, back to reality this year and uni life, which is pretty downright horrible. But yeah, it's we're going all right. We're going okay. And looking forward to being our Kempton on Boxing Day.
Yes, I'm there on the 27th, so I'm avoiding you quite tactically.
Well, yeah. Well, I think there is a suggestion that the reason on the Other Hoof stopped is because we'd fallen out like at or S Club 7, but actually that's not really true. We just hate each other more silently. We wouldn't do it.
We wouldn't go public. That's the attention seeking.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to draw attention to it.
Earlier on, I tweeted from the On the Other Hoof account with 6 almost rules to go through while watching the On the Other Hoof Christmas special. Now, the first one that I put up was bring a glass or a cup or a bottle or anything of Christmas cheer, i.e. drink some alcohol with us while we go through the Boxing Day cards. Now, before we get into the other 5 ones, Adam Webb, you did not participate in the drinking of alcohol last year. This year you are, though.
This is the first year I've ever done this, and I'm drinking vodka, lime, and lemonade because it's very easy to go down and it gets you drunk very quickly. So, Merry Christmas.
I can't wait to the end of the show already.
That's Adam Webb live from Guantanamo Bay.
Basra. Callum Adele.
I'm going for the more standard Corona.
Ooh, nice.
And for the fabulous Michael Andrews.
Oh,
It's great.
Very cool.
Word. Brand ambassador for Hooch, I really would. Like, it's just like drinking lemonade, but it gets you very slowly drunk.
I tried it once and it was all right. I've got it's Jack Daniel's honey because there was nothing else for me to have at the time, and I had wine last year, so I didn't want to go too boring. So Jack Daniel's honey, surprisingly nice.
Are you back in your grandma's house, by the way? Because, like, what are the curtains? Like, where are you?
Remember the goat? The goat used to abuse me for these curtains years ago.
Yeah,
Yes.
where?
The goat on Twitter.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Mate,
Big Harry or something like that.
Trevor.
Yeah, it was interesting. Second rule, I've been told there's a garbage bag. Here's Sarah on the door, so that's tidy now. Send all of your questions and fancies to @OnTheOtherHoof. That is rule number 2. Any fancies you may have over the festive period, any questions you may have for us over the festive period, do send them to @OnTheOtherHoof. And we're doing a Secret Santa thing as well, which we didn't do last year, mostly because of the fact that whoever got Michael would have been paying a fair bit for sending a present all the way to Australia. This year we have done it, so we'd like to know what you'd get, each and every one of us, if you did partake in a Secret Santa with us and you pulled out our names from the hat. Also, we'd like to know your favourite moment from the world of racing in the past year or so far. Obviously, we've still got plenty of racing left to come with the likes of Boxing Day up until New Year's Eve, still to come. And also, Adam Webb has agreed to make a festive video for one random Twitter user because it's funnier. It's just funnier. So what I want us all to do is come up with a suggestion of who we think, and then we'll get suggestions as well from people tweeting in, and Adam Webb will make a festive video for that person. I had it down to two people personally. I had Emmett Kennedy, and I also had Tom Stanley, who's the nicest guy in the world. So I had it down between those two people.
Do you know what? I would tweet them a festive video wishing them a Merry Christmas. So they're nice.
All right, Michael.
Any bad suggestions I am not doing.
Michael, who would you like to see Adam make a festive video for?
I think he should do the video, which is the naughty version of Jingle Bells. You know that. I think you should do singing that, and I think he should sing it to the person whose properties he's currently in. He should sing it to Donald Trump, who is obviously the head of Guantanamo Bay.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
I doubt Donald will see it, and that's a definite no.
I like that a lot.
No.
Luke's just like, I don't want to play this anymore. Can we just do that one?
Yeah, I want to do that one. Callum, try and trump Donald Trump.
I can't, but I think you should send one to every person that has had made one appearance on the Other Hoof over the years.
Oh,
that
God.
would be a lot of people.
No, that's not that many.
That's not
Dan
many.
Kelly, Nick Schofield,
Right out.
Tom Stanley, Ollie Bell. I'm trying to remember.
Right out. Candice Hare.
Right out.
Candice is on it.
Before Emmett Candice.
The guy that runs the affiliate thing, but let's not talk about that.
Oh, yeah, that idiot. He was a character. So by the end of the show, we need to work out who Adam is going to make a festive video for. Now is time for the important things to actually get into the racing. But first, I just want to quickly guess. Adam, who do you reckon has got you for Secret Santa?
This year, I think Callum Liddell.
Okay, Callum Liddell, who got you?
I think Michael.
Michael, who got you?
Adam?
I think Adam got me as well.
Okay.
Ooh.
Nice that no one's gone for me.
Yeah, no one wants you.
Wow, that's rude. That's rude. Oh, and also one thing before I do forget, we did have a tweet a few days ago running a competition here on the Other Hoof for a sporting scratch map. You basically scratch off any race course you visited, trying to accumulate all 60. There is a tweet on our Twitter account. Anyone that does retweet and follow our Twitter page, tell them to the draw at the end of the show. And I will work out how we're going to do that draw, because I had completely forgotten that we were going to do it up until now. And you can enter that a little bit later on. Right, racing is happening on Boxing Day. What we're going to do, we're going to start off with the Kempton races, and then we're going to work our way through to the Rowland Merrick. So we start off with the 120 over at Kempton. We've got 4 races from Kempton to preview, and we start off with a novice handicap chase over 2 miles, 4 furlongs, and 110 yards. It's going to be soft decided good, you'd imagine, over at Kempton, depending what the weather does on Christmas Day, this evening, and the morning of Boxing Day. But Hell's Kitchen, Adam, looks to be a relative warm order after running in a couple of hot races this season.
He does. I mean, on his form behind River Wild that you talked to, you give him an excellent chance here. But his jumping became suspect at Newbury. He unseated very early that day. And I'm quite worried about the form of the yard at the minute. They've not had many horses run well. I know they have Bullionaire run well in the listed bumper, but other horses from the yard seem to be going out like a light, which I think is a major concern here. The selection I'm going to go with is Reigning Supreme, the Nicky Henderson. I think Henderson is going to have a really good day at Kempton. I think he could have at least 4 winners, and this will be one of them. He's very lightly raced over hurdles. He won twice at Newbury, and I can forgive his Leicester run because that came on atrocious ground. He shapes as though good ground is going to really suit him, and off 134, I think he's well handicapped, and he's going to make a better chaser than he was a hurdler. So he's one that I'd be on side with. I think the main threat would be something like Touch Kick, who I thought won well at Sandown last time. He clearly needed his first run at the same track. He jumped to his left on that occasion, but I think Kempton should be okay for him. I'd see him being the main danger, but I think Reigning Supreme, I'm quite confident on the first.
I have to admit, I really fancy Reigning Supreme as well. He's been a horse that I've been eagerly awaiting make his Chase debut. I think he's the full or half brother to Beat That as well, who I hope he has a sounder career than poor Beat That will. But Reigning Supreme, I like him over fences. He's been entered a couple of times. He's entered, I think, Ascot the other day as well before not taking up that engagement. But it's a stiff task on his Chase debut, but I think he's more than good enough to take advantage of it. Hell's Kitchen, Callum, I've got a little bit of a concern that he might just be one of those nearly horses that always shapes quite nicely, but never really gets the job done.
Yeah, I remember last year on his start at Ascot, he shaped really well, didn't he? He caught many people's eyes, and then he's never really had the chance to go on for it, really. He seems to be quite a fragile horse, and I think he definitely has problems. But at the same time, he could be a horse that at some point could take off, and that might be in this race, really. It's obviously a race on a big card, so it wouldn't surprise me if he won really well. But at the same time, I'm pretty happy to take him on personally. I think it's a pretty good race. It often is a really interesting race, to be honest. I like the aspect of this race that you often get horses making their first start over fences in a handicap in this race, and Nicky Henderson in particular has done well. I think he's had 2 horses win first time out over fences in this race and had 4 in the last 10. Renewals have had the winner in 4 of the last 10, so I definitely respect both his that are making their debut first time out. The one I'm going to go for is Mr. Whitaker, who I thought was pretty impressive last time at Carlisle. Thought he jumped really well, thought he travelled extremely well, and I think again it's a horse that looks potentially really ideally suited by this race. So for me, he's my slight pick for the race, but it's not a strong opinion.
Yeah, I think I'd have Mr. Whitaker as the main danger to Reigning Supreme. Personally, and to round off the race, Michael.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. I kind of landed on Reigning Supreme as well. The horse he beat, the Hobbs horse that he beat on his last start at Newbury, has gone on and won on his debut over fences and jumped really well. Out jumped Nichols' horse that I can't remember what the name was.
Top of the game.
Sorry.
Top of the game.
Yeah, who fell. But I think he was out jumping him at that point anyway. And I thought I was really impressed with that horse, and this one beat him over hurdles at Newbury, Reigning Supreme. And I think 9-2 or 5-1, whatever it is a pretty decent price. Hell's Kitchen, I understand why that one would be favourite, but I do think that this is a bit of a all over the place race. There's no real standout, I don't think. There's nowhere really where you can set the barrier and kind of understand who's above that and who's below that. I think Theo's Charm will probably run well. I think he could be the only one who's kind of considered solid. Touch Kick, I don't think that was a very strong race that he won, and he didn't really do it that impressively last time. So yeah, I'd be coming down on the line of Reigning Supreme. Although I do think Hell's Kitchen will appreciate the step up in distance.
Yeah, really intriguing start to the day over at Kempton. For our purposes anyway, they'd have a novice hurdle at the start of the day to kick things off at 12:45. Just in case, on the off chance Tony Calvin does watch this, that's the 32red.com chase over at Kempton, the 120. And just to keep Mr. Calvin happy, if he does watch this at all, Merry Christmas to you, sir. At 32 red, Cordo Star Novice's chase is up. And next, that's over 3 miles, but it's been an interesting race over the years, Adam. It's not got the best record for producing RSA winners from then on.
It doesn't, but it would have done 12 months ago had Mike Bite stood up at the last, and it was quite incredible. On this very video 12 months ago, I told you that I couldn't have him with stolen money.
And you are from Liverpool, so there was a lot of going around where you are.
Yeah, well, I couldn't have had it.
Luke Bingo, like he's got in the little jib, Liverpudlian accents. That's definitely
one. I did message Callum the other day saying we need to play Adam Webb Bingo, and I just completely forgot.
Damn it.
Well, I played it the other week on the podcast Monday Night Review, but anyway. Yeah, the Felton doesn't have a good record for throwing up RSA winners, but it's quite easy to see why. Kempton's a right-handed flat track and Cheltenham's left-handed and undulating. You've had horses go close in it. Trebolgan nearly won it. He went on to win the RSA. Year's race, I don't think it's the strongest of renewals, but I am a really big fan of Mia Storm, who already has form against Geldings this season over fences. She beat Elegant Escape easily at Chepstow. Now, the race she won last time out I wouldn't trust the form, but it's the manner in which she's done it. I thought she was really impressive on that occasion. Now, she's sparingly raced. Alan King has said that she's not the most robust of mares this for a while. I think the ground should be okay, providing there isn't much rain. And I think she getting £7, I think should be quite hard to beat here. And the lame event at the RSA, which I quite like. They're not just going for mares races, they're actually going to campaign against the geldings. Of the rest of them, Ballyoptic, I think could be more suited by going back right-handed around Kempton compared to Cheltenham. I don't think the race panned out for him that well. And I like the fact he's had a break since. I know Nigel Twiston-Davies likes to run his horses, but I think that might have been a too quick a turnaround. So coming here fresher will help him. Black Horton has just been a model of consistency, and he'll run his race to win this. I'm not sure. I think Elegant Escape, admittedly, he beat Black Horton at Newbury. I don't think Kempton will suit him. He reminds me a little of Native River. I feel as though he's going to be a one-pace plodder in the future. He'd be one for the National Hunt Chase later on in the season. And the rest of them, Fountains Windfall, I thought was going to go close at Newbury. He just needs to brush up on his jumping a bit, but he could be a player here. The rest of them, I'm not keen on. West Approach is a horse I don't like over fences. I know he's won 2 out of 3, but the 2 races he's won, they both kind of fell apart, and I don't like his jumping technique especially. And Some Invitation has got plenty to find. I'm not going to have a bet in the race, but if I were to have one, it would be Miss Storm.
Approximately 10 hours later.
I was counting them. I was counting how many horses you mentioned. I think we could.
I hate you all. Ah, humbug.
Honestly, I had to work so quickly to get that. Question for you, Adam, being a Mere Storm fancier, so to speak. 2-1, bit slim.
That's why I'm not going to have a bet in the race. It is slim, but I think she could. I think she will win this basically. And if you fancy her for the RSA, you take the price now because I think she'll shorten drastically for that in a race that doesn't look very strong on paper at the minute. The only horse that conceivably I see winning the RSA is Monolly, and he runs later on over Christmas. So yeah, Mere Storm will be the one to beat here, but it's not a race that gets me excited.
Michael, we'll go to you next for the Cordestar Novices Chase, but sponsored by 32 Red.
I agree. I think, but I've got 5-2 up on Bet365 at the moment, and I think that is a good bet. I think if you take this form like really literally, she holds every horse basically, apart from Some Invitation, perhaps. I think loosely. I don't think we should take that as solid gold, but she kind of holds every horse on a bit of loose form, and I think she's been really impressive. Like there was something really special about her last couple of runs. I thought, especially the one at Chepstow, as well as the one at Market Raisin. I think it was Market Raisin anyway. I hope it was.
Yeah.
A Ballyoptic, can't really get excited about that one anymore. I thought it was really disappointing, his runs all this year, to be honest. Is he a bit one-paced? Like he ran well at Exeter, but that Exeter, I don't know if the ground was as bad as it has been recently, but the ground recently was so bad, they were coming in they were just going so slowly, and I think he kind of ripped the others apart. Just because he just kept going. I must admit, I would have Black Horton to follow them home because I think he was perhaps undone by the heavy ground at at Newbury, sorry. And I think I kept saying, oh, this horse isn't really, now all the main jumpers are coming in because he won so much over the summer, but he's actually lived up to the expectation. He's bypassed expectations and continues to be in really good form. I must admit, I have to agree with Adam on West Approach. I thought this horse was going to be really good over fences, and he really has been really disappointing, even though he's won 2 out of 3. But I might be wrong. He may come good at some point, and it might just, and maybe don't give up on him yet. I think we'll give him a little bit longer and we'll go from there. But I think Mere Storm at 5-2 is actually quite a good bet, and what I wouldn't back in the previous race, I'd put on double in this.
I thought she'd be about 4-1, 5-1 personally, Mere Storm in a race like this. I was talking to Callum the other day, and I was trying to find out if Ballyoptic was going to run in this race. I think he's a storming bet in this. He was around sort of 5 the other day, still 4-1-ish, around that sort of price. I think that's a fantastic bet. I don't get how he lost last time out. He jumped brilliantly. He made a small mistake at the third last, And then he made a terrible mistake at the last when I thought he was getting back on terms with Blackcourt. And on that ground, it just knocked the stuffing out of him. And from then on in, he was never going to get back upside Blackcourt. And it was done nothing bad for the form since. I think he'll overturn that form as well on slightly better ground. I'd love to see Sam Twiston-Davies give him an enterprising ride around Kempton, just take the ball by the horns, do what he did at Cheltenham effectively, and just say go. I think if he gets into the same sort of rhythm that he did at Cheltenham, Kempton, Callum, it's going to be a very different task for others to reel him in.
Yeah, I would agree with you, to be honest. He wasn't a great jumper over hurdle, to be honest, Ballyoptic, but the way he's jumped, certainly on his first start, I thought he was exceptional. I think he'll definitely be a better chaser than he is a hurdler, and he strikes the horse that's going to be around for a good few years that Twiston-Davies gets the very best out of, and I think it's a good placement to come here, really, in what's a pretty ordinary Grade 1, as it often is this race, really. I've got no problems with Mia Storm, to be honest, unless the ground got really soft. I think that'd be a real concern for her. I think she definitely likes the sound surface just because of the way she travels in her races. She's such a strong travelling horse. So if it did get a bit softer, I would be happy to take her on. At the moment, I think she's probably the one to beat, and based on what we've seen recently, I think she's been very impressive in beating lesser opposition. For all that, certainly her Chepstow form has worked out pretty well. I think she's definitely the one to beat, and I don't really have any qualms about her being 5-2. At the same time, I think I want to be on Ballyoptic, who I think will be really well suited by this track. I think his jumping won't necessarily be put under real pressure. I think there's probably maybe only one horse that really wants to go forward with him, which is maybe Fountain's Windfall. I think Sam Twiston-Davies should be able to give him a forceful ride from the front, and I think he'll take plenty of beating because over hurdles he was the best of these by a country mile, and given what we've seen over fences, I'll be surprised if he's not better over these obstacles. So, yeah, for me, I'm probably in agreement with you.
Yeah, I did almost force you to back Ballyoptic the other day as well, didn't I?
That forced me to back it.
That is the last of the races before the Grade 1s kick in anyway. We've got the Unibet Christmas Hurdle up. But next, where I want to say disappointing turnout, but the only other horse in this, well, in training at the moment, Michael, that would enhance this field is Fahine. Obviously, we see Fahine in the Ryanair Hurdle over in Ireland over the festive period. Bouvedere, though, we've got the reigning champion hurdle winner, the fighting fifth from last time around. I get the feeling, with that face you just pulled, you thought I was having a dig at my tent or yours, which I wasn't. I wasn't at all.
You were. And I really wanted to swear, but I thought, no, I'm above you. I can do better. I think we will now call what day was it? I can't even remember. The 12th of December, was it? Something like that? My Tent or Yours Day, when he regained his title. Sorry to quote Simon Holt on that.
It's interesting that they let My Tent or Yours run in the last race of the day as well, wasn't it? When the puppy got loose behind the field.
It wasn't the last race of the day either, you numpty.
He's bringing out the big boy words.
It's only the PC ones for before when it's at 5:30. I don't think we can get away with what we used to at 9.
I can because no one watches this.
Well, true. I must admit, I think Bouvedere wins, and there's no real argument about it. And the new one, yeah, fair enough. He was given My Tent or Yours £6 2 weekends ago, but I don't think he should be getting anywhere close to Bouvedere. Old Guard I really like, but I think he's a 2.5 miler out and out now, and then the other two you'd have thought would not be anywhere near as good enough. So I think it's very straightforward. Bouvedere should make this a pretty boring renewal, unfortunately. But hopefully he'll be quite sensational in doing it, which would make it more interesting. For example, when Fahine won it 3 or 4 years ago now.
Yeah, I was going to say 3 or 4.
2 or 3 years.
That's a while ago. Bouvedere, I think we're all going to agree that Bouvedere will take a lot of beating in this race. Adam, I mentioned to you the other day that Old Guard is a horse that I've got in mind for the Coral Cup further down the line. For me, building towards the Coral Cup starts now.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. He ran in the race last year and ran well. He's in much better form this season as well. So you see him, I can see him running in these kind of races, picking up prize money, maybe having a little break as well. Paul Nicholls tends to give his horses the flu jab in the first week of January, so their form does dip. But yeah, I actually think if there is a bet, it'd be the distance markets, and it will be for him to win by less than 6 lengths, because Barry Geraghty is very good on these long odds-on shots of not letting him win as far as they should. I mean, in the fighting fifth, he should have won by 20 lengths hard held, but Geraghty just held on to him, held on to him, and even eased up halfway up the race. If you've had a distance bet of over 10 lengths, you'd be absolutely cursing him. It's just going to be a canter round. Essentially, it's a racecourse gallop with 4 inferior horses. The new one will chase him home. Oh, God, will be third. The other 2, forget about them. Although I do love Chesterfield, and I will explain why I love Chesterfield later on.
Okay. I'm intrigued now.
You'll understand why.
That's to keep all the listeners or viewers watching, because they're all intrigued by this story now, Chesterfield.
Great story, and it involves after timing as well. So,
Oh, God.
Or your favourite?
I don't after time.
Is it about Luke?
Huh?
About Luke then, right?
No, it's not about Luke. No.
Yeah, disgrace.
But it is a story that includes after timing, so I apologise straight away for that.
Callum, Booth Adair wins. Who follows him home?
I'd probably be tempted to put Old Guard into second, to be honest. I mean, I kind of mocked you the other day when you fancied Old Guard at Cheltenham, because I just thought the new one, and certainly Mellon and my 10 or yours, were just a good deal better than him at those weights. But back at level weights, and also the new one, I know he's won various times at Kempton, but the last 2 renewals that he's finished, I think, second in this race, I think he's run to a pretty low level in doing so. And if he runs to that level again, I don't think he might. I think Old Guard might be able to beat him for second, to be honest. Whereas Old Guard loves Kempton as well. So yeah, I'd be happy enough to go with Old Guard. I think 9-4 without. I think that's relatively tempting, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say so. He's a similar sort of horse to the new one, albeit younger in a sense that he's a staying 2-mile hurdler. I think you watch his race back at Cheltenham in the International, nothing went right for him at all. He made a mistake, I think he might have been 2 out. Then he got severely hampered by my centre who was coming across him. He wasn't going to win the race, let's just put that out there now. But he got hampered, costing him a couple of lengths, and then he stayed on quite nicely towards the line, hence me wanting him to run the Coral Cup further down the line, a race that he ran in last year. But I think I agree with you, Callum, that he could well grab second in this in the Christmas hurdle of this year. And that moves us nicely along to 305, which is a big race of the Christmas period. That's 32 Reds at King George, where Mike Bite is the 11-10 market leader at the moment. Callum, we'll start with you with Mike Bite. For me, his most impressive performance last year weirdly came at Kempton, albeit he didn't complete before falling at the final fence. He was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it was an exceptional performance, wasn't it? Even though he fell, he just looked electric that day and hasn't really looked back since, to be honest. Look, this horse has got quirks. We all know that. He's not the most straightforward of horses. For me, he's got a huge engine, and Kempton is just going to... It's just his place, really. This is his race more than the Gold Cup. And, this is a really good field, to be fair. And you have to ask the question, do you really want to take 11-8 on this horse? And for me, definitely not. At the same time, it's going to be a race I'm going to leave anyway, I think. But he could just absolutely bolt up, couldn't he? This is the race where he could prove that he's an absolute superstar that a lot of people think he is, and rightly so, because the stuff he's done and the manner in which he's done it is you don't often see in horses, and that he can run at such a relentless pace and jump so well and boldly and just put other horses out of its comfort zone, really. I think if you just look at this race, it's clearly going to be run at a really strong gallop. I mean, Bristol Demise is going to go similarly. He's just such a relentless galloper, like we saw at Haydock and ground that was just pretty much unraceable, and he was just unstoppable in that ground. The more rain, the better for Bristol Demise, obviously. You just had to be concerned that away from a track like Haydock, which is a specialty track, really, and away from such bad ground, whether he's going to be quite as effective. But then you look at his Weatherby run in the Charlie Hall. That was a massive run. Beating Black Line is obviously one of the most impressive Beecher winners I can remember. He absolutely bolted up that day, Black Line, and he's beaten in fair and square, and they pulled clear. So you could definitely argue, given Bristol Demise actually 2 years younger than My Bite as well, that Bristol Demise is still improving. And if it was soft ground on the day, I would almost be tempted in backing him at that sort of price, because there's a lot. I was listening to the Final Furlong podcast earlier, and they were right in saying there's a lot of people in this that are going to be, whoever wins are going to be like, I told you so, and I told you this, and I told you that. So it's a really fascinating race in that regard. Fox Norton could be one that could come in there. He's obviously been very impressive over short. If he stayed, he's got the class to go close. The one I can't have is Thistlecrack. I can't have him on my mind whatsoever. Massively disappointed in his return. Didn't think there's anything there that showed remote promise, and I think he's unfortunately found the wall for a horse. It's been obviously pretty fragile in the past. I don't think they'll get him back to his best. I'd love to see it. I don't see it. I think he's a massive place lay in this Percy because I think they're going to go a strong gallop, and I think he'll get found out. I've gone on a longer time for this, but I think the race deserves it, to be honest. For me, if I had to have a bet, I think it'd be Whisper, just a rock-solid horse. And I would like Davy Russell on board. Obviously, he's not on board. I think he gets a real good tune out of the horse, but he just looks a much improved horse recently, which is weird given he's 9 turning 10. But he just looks a more complete package, certainly over fences. I thought he ran an exceptional race in the Hennessy or the Ladbrokes Trophy off a massive weight. And that puts him right in the mix with these horses. And I think he's going to be ridden to kind of pick a couple of these off. If they go off too quick in front, I think he'll be finishing better than many. So for me, around 8-1, I think he's rock solid each way. I can't really see him out the 3. So if I'm going to put a bet up, I think it'd be Whisper.
Yeah, Whisper, one of the more consistent horses in this field, we'll say. And Michael, we'll move on to you. For me, Might Buy, if we could liken him to any sort of human, it'd be our very own Adam Webb, in a sense that we've no idea what he's going to do next. He is an enigma.
The son of Scorpion. How dare you?
He's an enigma.
He's fun to have around.
There's a lot of talent there when you finally get it.
Exactly. It takes a fair bit of work. He rarely walks in straight lines.
I do.
There's a likeness there. There's a likeness.
I don't know. I'm not. I'd like to think. No offense to Adam, but I'd like to think. Hopefully, Mike Bite will put on a pretty, a pretty sensational performance that even Adam Webb couldn't achieve. And everyone's distracted by the bin. Is the bin moving, Luke?
No, that is my mum. Michael has called you a bin. Come on, Mum. This is part of a tradition for the On the Other Christmas special. Mum makes an appearance. Mum,
Hi, everybody.
Michael's called you a bin. How do you feel about that?
I feel devastated.
Take a seat. Take a seat.
You haven't got a room on Boxing Day now. Oh dear.
He
Liz,
has a room on Boxing Day if he wants a room on Boxing Day. That's no problem.
who's going to win
Oh.
the King George, Liz?
I'm not going into King George. I'm going to give you genuine positive tips. Plumpton. Watch the Plumpton bonus races.
Yeah, no, I mean
Oh.
tomorrow. I don't,
No.
We want ones for Boxing Day.
I don't care about Boxing
Ding
Day.
Ding Ding's running a Boxing Day.
Ding Ding. Oh, what Ding Ding? You should go the all weather. We've got to say what?
What part of Font is all weather?
Yes. She's Plumpton.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fine, sorry.
Excuse me.
Apologies.
Watch the Plumpton bonus races and follow the winners and even the place horses and watch for them at the Cheltenham Festival. That's my Christmas tip.
That's very good advice. I'd heed that.
So
Well,
Because
so far we've had Optimus Prime, we've had Benatar, and we've had Not Another Model. We've got 2 more to come.
Benatar's already scraped the scalp of Finian's Oscar as well, so that's what that would have given you a winner at the weekend.
yeah.
It did. It did.
And
Yeah.
you also
Just follow the Plumpton bonus races. There you go. That's my Christmas tip. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you.
happy Christmas, please.
As for me, on King George, I must
the woman stinks of wine.
I would love Chris Thistlecrack to do it, but I have to say you can't really be backing him with that much confidence. I think Colin Tezard has come out and said that he thinks maybe he should have given him a couple of runs rather than just the one. He didn't look great, but I think, to be honest, the way he just ran like he wasn't fit. He travelled pretty well. He wasn't jumping as fluent as he could have done, but he travelled fine. And then he just, like an unfit horse, they just get tired at the final, in the final kind of couple of furlongs. So if he has got him fit, then it could be a new story. But we'll see on that. Bristol de Mai, I'm very much unsure about, because I do think at Haydock, if you get out in front, pretty much the same as Sam Spinner did, if you get out in front and you stay there, it's really hard in heavy ground to pull them back, because the ground is normally dead. It's you're normally knackered, and you just keep on rolling if you're out in front. And they're normally horses that really enjoy it. I don't know if, no offense to Callum, I'm reading the Black Lion form in a completely different angle. and saying, is a horse that only beat Black Lion by half a length the horse that you think can beat Might Bite and it can win the King George? I think Black Lion is a way above average winner of the Beecher or Grand Sefton Beecher. But I don't know if that's the form you want to take out. I think it's good that that means Bristol de Mai can sit in. He doesn't have to like challenge Might Bite, but his best performance came when he was leading, and he was leading by a good, possibly 8 lengths at most point of the racing. So I also have gone with the quite solid option of horse doesn't need to lead, doesn't need many things. The consistent horse of Whisper. I think at 8-1 each way, you're getting a really good run for your money. I don't think it's a race I'll be back betting in much. I do think Might Bite is the horse that I want to win and should win. And if he does win, that would be, for racing, we've got a serious contender on our hands. But I think Whisper, I can't see him out the first 3 at all. So you're getting about just under 2-1 each way terms. If you get 1-4, that is a really, really good bet.
Fair enough. For me, and I'm going to go way left field here.
Okay,
Huh? I don't know what you said. I want to know what you said. Might Bite wins. Whisper's back in second. And third place is Double Shuffle, who is 100-1 at the moment. I can see this race panning out in a sense where the horses that have got a chance try and race Might Bite, and they pay for that because nothing can race Might Bite when he's at his best. And then suddenly we've got the likes of Thistlecrack, who I was more upbeat than most after his return, but the closer we're getting to the race, the less confident I'm getting about him. Fox Norton, I'm surprised they've gone straight up to 3 miles with him. I think he's a 2.5 miler, as I was talking to Callum about before the Tingle Creek, and Bristol de Mai around Kempton. I'll believe it when I see it, but he could have improved this year, but I wouldn't be betting him at 4-1 to find out. I get the feeling that Bristol de Mai could well pay for trying to go up and force the pace potentially with Might Bite. Fox Norton, he'd surprise me if he ran a huge race in this race. Thistlecrack, I'd hope to see him back, but I'm not sure. I think Whisper and could pick up the pieces for second place. But as long as we have 8 horses in this contest, I really fancy Double Shuffle at 100-1 to potentially sneak into the places. So, Adam, there's my pearls of misfortune.
Fair enough. Double Shuffle does like Kempton and should be unbeaten at the track. He won the handicap not this card, but on 27th card 12 months ago. The last race that was on Channel 4, and now covering ITV for the first time, which is, well, bizarre. Anyway, Might Bite. 12 months ago, I slagged him off, and I slagged him off continuously up until he won the RSA, and that was a performance that shut me up. He is some machine, and it's just that relentlessness and the way he goes about things. You think he's going to stop, and in the RSA, he's 15 clear. Now, my worry was, I don't think he'd stop naturally. It's whether he sees something in the crowd at the Arkle bar, goes for a drink, comes back on the track, and goes and wins still. It was remarkable. But his last 2 runs at Aintree and at Sandown, he's looked a lot more straightforward. And Kempton is the place that I think is going to really suit him as well. And I think he's potentially going to get Bristol de Mai out of his comfort zone. Whereas I'd describe Bristol de Mai as a flat track, soft ground bully. Admittedly, as much as I want to say Might Bite is a bully, I still feel as though if something came to him, like as we saw in the RSA, when Whisper went past him and a loose horse was there again and got back up to beat Whisper. So to me he shouldn't have done that, but it showed to me that he's not just one-dimensional. Odd way. And I think he'll win this. There's no juice in the price, but if he does drift to 2-1, I doubt it. But if there is 2-1 an offer, I will be having a bet on him. Anyway, Bristol de Mai, I've made my point. I do think he's a flat track, soft ground bully. And admittedly, he has run well on better ground. But you look at that Haydock performance, and to me, it's too good to be true. I just can't see that standing up. Although you said that about Sam Spinner yesterday in the long walk, and look what he did. And he looked some beast for Jed O'Keefe, and I'm so happy the connections there. Fox Norton, I'm actually interested in him at 3 miles. I think he'll run really well here. I don't think he'll win. I think he'll hit the frame, along with, surprise, surprise, Whisper. And I had back Whisper for this each way. So, and really come round to Whisper. Ever since Davy Russell got on him over fences, he's only been beaten by Mike Bite and Total Recall in the Ladbroke Trophy, and I was absolutely heartbroken because he did absolutely nothing wrong. That question his resolution, I don't think you can. I think he is extremely game, extremely genuine. Aidan Coleman for me is a positive. I mean, I'd rather Davy Russell be on because he's the horse, but Aidan Coleman I think will just hunt him round and he'll pick up the pieces, and he just looks a different horse. I mean, Nicky Henderson has done some job to get him back, considering 2 years ago he lost in the Wilderness. And I had to give Callum Medell a nod because I remember on the Other Hoof Jumps preview about 3 years ago, he nominated Whisper to be a top class chaser. So
I forgot that myself.
He was right. 2 years too late, but he was right in the end. I also agree with him on Thistlecrack. I don't see many positives from his Newbury run. And the one question that I keep asking, how the hell is he back less than a year later? Normally, we associate tendon injuries as that you would need at least a year off. So I was puzzled that he came back so quickly. And the way he went out like a light, just I can't see him going close. Plus, I think the King George last year was not a strong race. His stiffest test over fences, I think he might even struggle here against the likes of Mike Bite and Bristol Demai. And of the rest, I mean, some are making cases for Tifa too. I mean, he's won the course and distance when he won the Corto Star a couple of years ago. But I just don't think at this level in a King George, Mike Bite wins. I'll give you the TriCast. Mike Bite wins, Whisper second, Fox Norton to finish third. Merry Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho.
Whisper's getting a strong mention here, I think, among plenty of other punters as well, other than us. But Whisper looks a rock solid each way better. That is the King George done and dusted for this season. Mike Bite looking a very warm order. And we do have one more away race to cover. That's from Wetherby. That's the 188 bet Rowland Merrick handicap chase, a grade 3 handicap over 3 miles and 45 yards. For me, this year, Michael, I don't think it's the strongest renewal of the Rowland Merrick.
It's a really disappointing renewal, considering we had definitely won it last year. That's pretty good horse. Won off favourite for the Grand National and didn't disgrace himself this season so far. Pretty much everything has something to prove, don't they? Really, there's nothing. Perhaps Delusion of Grandeur is in good form, but this has something to prove on the level that this race really demands, and the level that some of these horses have been at some point in their career. It's quite a shame to see Dig Out for Mickey Hammond has been pulled up on his previous start. It would be possibly better if that horse was retired, but we'll see. He hasn't really been in form for quite a while now. I've come down on 2. I think Acting Pieces could run really well for Pam Sly. I think that one didn't run too badly in the hurdle race last time, but has been jumping quite well, I thought, over fences before that one. Was second to Sir Mangan in a not bad banger race, and then also beat Catamaran de Soy, who ran quite well at Haydock in heavy ground over the weekend. I think that horse actually doesn't really have as much to prove. I think it was slightly disappointing last time over hurdles, but that could just be a little pipe opener for this. The other one I'd be interested in is Wakanda, who I don't think has been particularly bad either. It's slightly bad that I'm saying it's the ones that haven't done, their bad runs aren't as bad as the others, basically. But I think the run at Newcastle can be forgiven, and it was only beaten 7 lengths by Adam May previous time, and beaten by Definitely Red the time at the last season. So I think Wakanda has got a chance for Danny Cook and Sue Smith. But Acting Pieces, I think actually that one at a slightly bigger price. I think he's about. You can probably tell me better. Acting Pieces is 9 to 1. I think that is really good, solid each way price. Won't get 3 places because there's 8 runners. So yeah, I'm going to go with Acting Pieces, and I think that's quite a fairly strong each way selection.
Acting Pieces for Michael. Adam, for yourself.
This is the worst renewal of the race I can remember. It is dreadful. Considering the role of Honour this race has, it's had Gold Cup winners in the past, like Forgive and Forget and Thinker, and solid top class handicappers that win this, like Beira Jan, Gunnar Wellburn, Truckers Tavern, who was second in the Gold Cup. It's just sad to see the race like this, but Alumomo's been running over hurdles. He broke his shoulder at Cheltenham and he fell last December. Warren Gray checked in the team for getting him back. Step up to 3 miles, I think, will suit him. But I want to see him jump. I couldn't bet him with confidence. Get on the Jaeger, beat one of a 10 to avoid. Thank God in Ramsatelli at Fontwell last time.
Wait. What happened to Ramsatelli the time before that?
Let's not talk about that. I'm still reeling about this list. All right, it absolutely bolted up by 17 lengths on its chase.
I thought it was 23 lengths.
The race fell apart. The race fell apart. That, in my defence, the race fell apart, and he looked soft in the finish again last time. 17. I don't trust the horse.
17 lengths, by the way.
Was it 17? Was it?
Yeah, I know it was by 17 lengths, but it was a huge occurrence, and it won't happen again. And oh, dearie me. Anyway, I get Michael's case on acting pieces. Her form over fences is very solid, and she has to be ridden by Gina Andrews because she resents males, which is a very interesting thing for a horse. But the one I give a chance to at 16 is Shantou Flyer, who has been highly tried of late. I mean, he was pulled up in the Grand National by 1 for Arthur. 2 runs this season, he has yielded yet little so far, but he's only £3 higher than when he won on New Year's Day at Cheltenham. I don't think the trip's a problem, and this is a lot easier than running in a Betfair chase behind Bristol de Mice. So, Shantou Flyer each way.
Shantou Flyer, one of the bigger prices in the field. The favourite, Ali Momo for myself. I'm a little worried about Ali Momo now. I wasn't aware that he broke his shoulder in that fall at Cheltenham last season, but since then, his 2 runs over small obstacles over hurdles have yielded 2 disappointing efforts. One of them, in fairness, wasn't a very good race at Carlisle behind 2 decent horses. I think Count Maribel and Kildestart with the 2 ahead of him. And then at Southwell last time out, he had every single chance to win his race. I think the favourite for the contest fell early on. Then that was his race, put on a little silver platter. Go on, have your fun and win it, and then we'll be back next time. And he still couldn't take advantage of that. For him to be 3-1 favourite for a race like this, I could easily pass him over. And I fancy possibly the worst named horse in training in Get on the Jaeger. I absolutely despise that. It's awful.
It's a proper Scouser's name, isn't it?
Such a bad name for a horse. Bad owners. But good horse. Won last time out at Fontwell, as we say, beat Ramsatelli, who Adam calls soft. May well be the case, but still it was a decent staying performance from Get on the Jaeger, who is still pretty unexposed as a staying chaser as well, but there could be a fair bit more to come from Dan Skelton's charge. Henry Brook taking the ride tomorrow, whenever you're watching this, as Harry Skelton is elsewhere. I think £5 higher for that win last time out. I still think Get on the Jaeger is a pretty well handicapped individual. I think he should be favourite in this race over everything else. So for me, Callum, Get on the Jaeger.
So there's 8 runners, and every single we mentioned, apart from the one I'm going to go for, which is Baywing. It's literally, I think we've literally covered every horse in the field, but no strong opinion. I think the fact that we have pretty much gone through every horse, and I'm not convinced by any of them, just says everything. But he won a very weak Towton that kind of fell apart around him last year, but at least it was over this course and distance, and I thought he shaped relatively well enough at Kelso after that to suggest that he was actually on an okay mark of 147, come down a few pounds after 2 runs this season, which haven't been great. He didn't jump well at all first up at Carlisle, but that was over 2.5 miles on good to soft. I think he was taken off his feet, and then he fell at the first at Haydock last time. By the sounds of it, he's had a lot of schooling since. I think this is pretty much his perfect race back at this track. I think the track would be ideal for him. I think he's on a relatively decent mark, and if he gets into a good rhythm this time with his jumping and it holds up, I think he'll take a fair bit of beating and a really poor renewal.
That's a Baywing for Callum. And that, with the end of the Rowland Merrick preview, concludes the races that we are going to be talking about this evening on the On the Other Hoof Christmas special, and only show that we're doing in 2017. Thank you for listening to our thoughts about the 5 races. However, the show is far from over. If you do want to tweet us any fancies or questions you may have for the festive period, anything from horse racing to, as Kai Wills has tweeted, our preferences in chocolate, which we shall get to very shortly indeed. On the Other Hoof is where you can tweet us your fancies and questions. And we start off with Nick Crossland, who isn't watching live. Disappointing, Nick. So Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas to yourself as well. Moment of the year was on the flat one that we all remember, Frankie Dettori celebrating winning Nunthorpe before Mark was confirmed as the winner. That was a bit of a troll moment of the year, wasn't it? It was quite humorous. Apologies, Frankie Dettori. He's a big fan of this show as well. He always watches. He says overjumps. Mike Bike's Cheltenham detour, tremendous nutcase.
Yeah.
I don't think
not much more you can say to that.
We can't add a great deal onto that. Tony Amato has tweeted in saying, "Hi lads, Merry Christmas to you all. Great to see you back. My fancies for Tuesday. Is Tuesday Boxing Day?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah. Kildasart in the 340 at Kempton, Jesper's Dream in the 315 at Wincanton, and Novice of the Year so far, I think Juvenile, Espoir Dalen for Gavin Cromwell for an up-and-coming trainer. Best of luck with those three. I do think Kildasart will run a big race as well, Tony. Yeah. Derek Gamblepunt, who is the most underrated guy on Twitter. If you don't follow him, go and follow him.
Great.
He's so funny. He's so funny. Says, question, why are they running Apple's Jade over 3 miles and thoughts on her ending up in a championship race?
I don't think she will end up in a championship race, but I'm very interested in her at 3 miles. She is a fantastic mare. I love her to bits. I hope she wins. I know that Nichols Canyon's the main danger, but it won't be for you, Luke, because he doesn't like Leopardstown.
Hates Leopardstown.
Yeah, that second last hurdle.
It's
How many times he kicked
second last every time. I think he's run there 6 times, and he's lost his race at the second last 5 times now. It's just
Super Sunday danger.
Yeah, potentially.
Seventh
Really quick for that run.
Was that Michael?
7th time lucky, perhaps, for Nichols Canyon. No, I agree. I think Apple's Jade over 3 miles is fascinating. Whether she ends up in a championship race, no, she probably won't. It would be great, but she won't.
As much as we want to see it, I don't think we will. Callum, 3 miles Apple's Jade. It's a match made in heaven, isn't it?
I'm considerably in favour of that than her dropping back to 2 for the champion hurdle. But if there's a grade 1 over 2.5 miles against mares, it's probably going to be won by her. Why would you go elsewhere?
Yeah, she's a very, very good horse. We look forward to seeing her as well in due course. Kai Wills, the fantastic Kai Wills, has also tweeted saying, great to have you back, lads. Hope you have a nice Christmas and plenty of winners. He then goes on to ask what our biggest fancy is over Christmas. We will get to that with our naps a little bit later on, so we won't spoil that just yet. And what horse what horse are you looking forward to most come the Cheltenham Festival in March?
I think I'll go first, Tim. It's really boring, but genuinely the one horse that's really I've been so impressed with, and I didn't really know much about last year when I was down under. I didn't really follow the progress. Is Samcro. It's really unoriginal, but that horse, I've only really seen him race only this season. I didn't really see what he did last season. I thought, wow, the way he travels is something else. So yeah, that would be my one. It's very unoriginal, but yeah, Samcro.
Samcro for Michael. Callum?
The only thing that's keeping me going this winter, apart from racing in Dubai, is Faheen and Buvadere.
Oh, that would be some match if they got to take each other on. And God, I hope they do. That would be a fantastic race. Individual horse. I saw Clayman taking Forgan at the Kennel Gate at Ascot the other day. I'm really looking forward to him running in the Supreme. I think he jumps hurdles just about as well as any other horse or any other novice I've seen. He's absolutely electric. He's just a little bit lazy once he hits the front. Clayman taking Forgan for me. Adam?
I'm going to go with another Nicky novice member. I am a huge fan of On the Blind Side. I think he is a proper horse. And I can't wait for him to go chasing next year. Be a future Gold Cup horse. I love him to bits.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I saw On the Blind Side at Sandown. He just looked absolutely superb. He's a brilliant horse to be going forward with. Rhys Williams.
Miles already as well.
What's that?
He needs further already on the blind.
He's a proper stayer, isn't he? He's just got stamina for days. Yeah. And fences will help him in the future as well. Rhys Williams has tweeted in saying, what's the nap at Poe tomorrow? I think we're all in agreement that we really fancy whatever Felix Charles is going to ride.
Nah, Cicalina for Guillaume Macaire.
Yeah, that's the one I thought would follow home Felix de Charles.
Yeah.
Well, he's not got a ride in that race. I don't know if he's got a ride in races.
There was an article on the Racing Post about Felix de Charles riding over Christmas Day, so I hope he's got a ride. Otherwise, that article was terrible.
Oh dear.
Here's Rhys.
I haven't looked at Poe. I'll be perfectly honest.
He is riding. He's riding in the next race. He's riding in race 4.
Yeah, wins.
There we go.
Wins.
Just like that.
Cannot lose. Wins.
Speed over is about the 9-1 mark, 10-1.
Just have the lot on. Have the lot on. Can't lose.
I hope it wins.
Rise emailed in saying, who will have more winners of the festive period, Hendo or Willie?
That's a good question.
Willie.
I think Hendo's going to have 4 winners at Kempton.
Yeah, but you take a look at Willie. He's got all the short price horses in maiden.
Yeah, true. That is a very good point, actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
Willie.
Derek Gambleplan, also not watching live tonight. He's tweeted in a picture of his drink. He's tweeted in a picture of his drink. He's on boozy parenting duty, so not listening live, and it shall be on YouTube. Derek. He's gone for oak-aged Slow and Mulberry gin.
Ooh. Michael sounds like you like that.
No. Get your tips out. Happy Christmas. Says best Boxing Day long shot, lads. I think if we were to put up on the other hoof long shot, I think we'd have to put a Whisper each way because we all agreed on it.
Long shot.
Yeah.
Like a double figures.
Yeah. Well, long shot enough. So Whisper in that regard. We'll get to Naps a little bit later on. Jackie Kingdom has tweeted in saying, I do hope you'll be covering the 135 and 315 at Sedgefield on Boxing Day. # chili and Samamish. Samamish double. Best of luck with those two. Nonetheless, Jackie, we hadn't planned to cover them, and we're going to stick to that because obviously we like to keep things to time on the other hoof. Thank you for the kind words as well. Liam, Maddie Plale is drinking at the moment, and she's tweeting saying, what can I do to ensure that Thistlecrack wins the King George?
Kind of feel bad for Thistlecrack now.
Yeah. Well, she could convince everyone else to withdraw the other 7.
Or get a time machine to go back to 12 months ago.
Yeah. Instead of watching this year's King George, Maddie, go onto YouTube and watch last year's one.
Yeah, it might look a bit different, but
it works. He'll if you can merge the Corte Star Novice's Chase and the King George together, then he'll pick up the pieces from Mike Bite falling at the last. Still, see you, Callum. Nice having you.
We really need the toilet as well. Has he gone to the toilet? I'm really jealous now.
no.
Kai Wills is tweeting and saying Cadbury's Heroes or Celebrations.
Celebrations.
Yeah, this isn't even a question.
Celebrations. Although I guess Celebrations, but Bounty and Snickers.
Oh, they're two brilliant.
Snickers now.
I like any.
There's a better variation of chocolate, I think, in Heroes, but Galaxy puts it up in the Celebrations, so it's tough.
Yeah. Always the thing to say when Celebrations took out the Galaxy Truffle. That was a disappointing one.
Yeah.
That was a very good chocolate. I think they went down on my estimations, but they put cream egg in. What are they doing?
Yeah.
I like cream egg, but no.
I like cream egg, but not as like a small one. I want my cream eggs like eggs, you know?
Yeah, completely agree. I want an egg. Jermaine, the goat chaser, is back. Now, he said, bit rude starting without me, if I'm honest. We did pay homage to you, Jermaine, saying
We did.
about the curtains. So we have already talked about you. Therefore, you cannot get mad at us.
Rewind.
At all.
Just what Maddie needs to do a year, you need to go back about an hour.
Yeah. Look, we're getting more present as we speak. And the final question, Alex Belly has said, what is the nap for Huntingdon races so I can look shrewd?
Huntingdon?
I did have a fancy Huntingdon. Out of This World in the 225 in the bumper, the listed bumper. I think Out of This World's a very good horse.
I like her, but I am worried about the yard form. I mean, we mentioned that earlier with Harry Fry, but that's the one thing that would put me off her. If she's all right, she wins. But
Wins everything. Best of luck, and I assume, Alex, that you are heading to Huntingdon on Boxing Day, so have a fantastic day and a good Christmas as well. Before we get to Secret Santa, nap time. We'll get them out of the way. Adam.
reigning supreme in the 120 at Kempton. But I will make. I can change it if you want.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I was between two, and I'll go for the other one.
Can I talk about what I'm looking forward to on Boxing Day?
Go on.
The bumper horse at Leopardstown called Black Bow. I saw him be sold at Aintree in the spring, and he looks a really nice individual. Gone to Willie Mullins for 150k. Reports are that he's working well at home, and this is a bumper that Willie Mullins tends to do well in. So he's very interesting.
And that is Rain Spring. Okay, Callum.
Can we do like 27th, 28th?
Yeah, Christmas period.
It hasn't been fully declared yet, but I'm just looking at the Wayward Lad on Wednesday. So the Wednesday 27th. Nichols has got 3 in it. There's one horse in particular called Suriname that I'm really interested in. He's pretty lightly raced still. He came over from France last year. He's had a wind operation after his first run last year, Ascot, for connections. Just starting to come good now, and I think back on a right-handed track, I think will really suit. He jumped extremely well at Huntingdon on his debut. I don't think Newbury last time really suited him, but back on a right-handed track, I think he could be a decent force. So if he turns up in the Wayward Lad, I think he's 4-1 at the moment. I think that's a definite bet.
I don't know where Michael's gone, but he's gone flaccid. Where did you go?
Sorry, I didn't fit my catheter, so I had to go to the toilet.
Oh, that's just what's your nap of the Christmas period?
That's a really good question.
I weren't expecting, because we had 2 naps already.
Yeah, I don't know what they said. So
Adam and surname in the Wayward Lad for Callum.
Okay, I'm gonna stick with Acting Pieces. Actually, I really like that each way. I'm not gonna go Whisper because I know we're kind of doing that as a bit of a group one, so I won't put that one up. I'll go with Acting Pieces. So quite happy to select that.
Okay, Acting Pieces in the is it Rowland Merrick, isn't it? For
yeah.
Michael. For myself, I'm going to go for Ballyoptic in the Kurdistan Novices chase. So Ballyoptic for myself. Acting Pieces for Michael. Callum is siding with Surname in the Wayward Lad, hoping that he gets declared. And Adam going for Reigning Supreme as well in the Novice Handicap on Boxing Day at Kempton. Right, we're through all the important stuff, guys.
Actually, no, we have an annual Naughty Lucky 15.
Oh, sorry, my apologies.
Yes, yes,
Yes, it's back.
I'm so happy.
Let's play. Let's go.
And as always, it's named after each one of us. When because there was not very many options.
Really? No, I've got a problem with that. You say after every one of us, I got picked on a lot more than everyone else.
Yeah. Normally, I've balanced it out this time. So obviously, I'll talk about myself first, because that's the only one that's actually nice, and that is the 3:30 at Leopardstown, the Holy One. That is the one. And actually, you could misconstrue that, couldn't you?
That's also true.
I went with holy as in, bishop kind of thing, but make of that what you will. For Luke, as always, we'll go to the 12:45, and we know that Michael O'Leary has been naming his horses some pretty upsetting names recently. I think he must be, Ryanair must be going.
I know what one this is.
Scattered Love and Death Duty and all those ones. So how do you describe Luke? I'm going to go with grotesque.
Yeah, I knew it was fucking grotesque. I knew that was coming.
We're going to go to we'll go Callum next. 3:35 at Huntingdon. I could have been nice here. I could have gone with Top Decision. Going with Callum would have been a top decision, but nah, should have gone to Vegas instead.
Yeah, I'll take that. I was expecting worse.
And
no.
And for Adam,
no.
Who else can we go for? A
date
or a night out with Adam would give you the favourite of the King George. You might bite.
Oh my god! I don't.
I was right. Naughty Lucky 15 from Michael Andrews. Thank you for the maturity, as always, Michael. Right. Secret Santa time, guys. Who wants to open their present first?
Yeah, go on.
Is Adam going first?
I'll open mine. Yeah, I'll go first.
Go on,
right.
Adam.
Adam, who do you think got you?
I think Callum.
Okay,
Am I right?
You think Callum got you? Can the mystery Secret Santa reveal himself? Ah, Callum's
Yes.
in. Well played, Adam. Well played.
Now, my sister has had to wrap it because, long story short, I ordered a parcel to come to where I live, and one turned up.
I did put a specialist name on it, and they just didn't seem to put it on. So
No, they didn't. It was just Adam Webb. So that's why my sister opened it. She confirmed that I definitely hadn't ordered it, and I'm encouraged by the wrapping and what it might be. So somebody else has got wrapping paper around this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
It's like half the parcel, eh? Oh wow, I love this. It's a picture of one for Arthur, and then this mug is for judges only. Oh wow! Thank you. I love this. And it's not the first one for Arthur mug I received. Tony Deacon gave me one when we went to Nicky Henderson, so I've got another one. I'm so happy. Thank you.
This mug is in judges only.
And in fact, I'm going to use it right now.
Oh,
And I've got
I'd give it a wash out first, to be honest. I'd give it a wash out first. Okay, thanks.
Cheers. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to die. I'll be okay.
I'm going to go along the bottom in order. So, Callum, you're up next.
yeah,
Who do you think got you?
I think Michael, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Can Secret Santa please reveal himself?
It's you.
Value rater.
Can you show the front, the name, not your address? Or your address, whatever.
Yeah.
What's Novice?
I can't see it, but okay.
It said it's a value rater. A funny story as well while Callum opens this. Value rater, Callum had to sign for it at the door. Now, he said he had to sign value rater on the machine. I didn't 100% believe him at this point. However, with the Royal Mail tracking system, you do get an email through, and it shows you the signature of.
Just scribbled it.
Just, all it says is rater. Like, you signed it, rater.
Oh my god.
Right, what we got? Okay. Oh, brilliant. Okay. That was kind of expected. I like that. That's brilliant. I'll definitely get a penny out and start scratching on that. So.
And while we're here, you can enter into the contest as well.
Not in your window, Michael. I knew as soon as I said it.
I'll get a penny out and start scratching on that.
While we're on the topic of pennies, you can still enter that contest as well on Twitter to win one of. Callum, show them the free thing. You can win one of these for free. The girl Charlotte has set it up. She has offered a framed one as well. So do retweet and follow our page if you're watching this live, and we'll do the draw in about 5 minutes at time. Or
free.
Can we apply for it?
I didn't get that free, I'm afraid.
That's a lie.
I got a 10% off code. Okay, that worked.
Okay.
Michael, who do you think got you?
From the name, I got the name Dame Mikey Andrews.
That's Adam. Adam.
And I thought straight away it's Adam. So yes. So here
You'll like this.
Did you say I'll hate it or love it?
No, you'll like this.
Oh, so like. Okay.
I'm really concerned now because I know that Michael got me.
Did you get 2 presents, Luke?
Yeah, I've got two.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I know what it is now. Ah, the best horse in the world. Yay, thank you, Adam. I will wear it.
You're very welcome.
We'll wear it with pride, although in public people do think
I had to ask somebody what size shirt you needed because I wasn't going to guess.
Oh,
So
right.
I'd like to thank that person. I don't know if they're watching, but Ed, thank you very much for letting me know.
No surprises there.
Ned, oh man.
Right. What do I open first, Michael?
Open. What do you think? What do you want first? Do you want nice or naughty?
Well, naughty's in the box. This is in the envelope, I think.
I think open the bigger one first, not the flat one.
The box.
Yeah.
my initial thoughts were that this was from Adam, and this was a mug with like something like Loch Derg on it. But I'm wrong. How do I open it?
What name did you have in your were you addressed weirdly, or was it just Luke Elder?
Sensibly, actually, for Michael, which is why I thought it wasn't Michael. I got Luke S. Santa Elder, which is actually my middle name as well. It's a mug. Oh, that's pretty cool. That. It's a.
Oh yes!
Oh my god!
I love that.
And it's also got a lot of Adam.
That's brilliant.
Oh, hey, my Home Alone guys. Oh,
This one literally just says it's from Kempton. He looks like Home Alone there. Rob your house.
funnily enough, I turn up for work with the hat and coat on, and they're like, "Oh, have you been robbing again?" It's like, oh my god, not the only people that say it. Oh,
I had to Twitter search. I would like to thank Sean, who tweets all of those on a yearly.
what a horrible individual he is. Oh, I mean,
go on all of Sean's pictures, which was not a great experience, I have to say. I did have to get put through quite a lot of hell to find those great images. But yes, Luke. Now we're open the other one.
I don't want to.
Oh, this is the joke one.
Okay. Wow. Are you serious?
Open it. You have to open it.
That doesn't give much away. It's a mankini.
No way! I nearly bought Adam one, and I'm not even kidding. Like, I nearly did, and it just I couldn't get it in my budget with the mug, but I nearly bought him one because we mentioned about it.
How does it even work?
I'm so glad you didn't get me one.
God.
Step into it.
Luke, get in it.
I'm going to keep other clothes on if that is okay.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Yeah, when I said I one wanted.
Oh, that is really uncomfortable. It's inside out. Wow. Thank you, Michael.
It's fine.
Emperor, I'll wear this next time I come to you on Callum's.
What's excited when I get to do
Thanks, Michael. It's cheap mankini as well. £1.85 for a mankini.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I thought, wow, even though I don't know if it fit in my budget at all. I thought I've just got to get it anyway. Like,
Yeah. I had been meaning to get one, so
I'm sure Liz can't wait for you to take it downstairs.
Yeah.
I genuinely nearly did that as well. That'd be so funny if we both got.
So happy
Yeah.
you didn't. I'm so happy.
Damn it! That should have happened.
Okay. Competition time. How I've decided to do it, because I forgot to do any names in the hat. I've got the list of people here on Twitter, and each one is going to be assigned a name effectively, or a number effectively. And which one of you wants to pick a number? It's ranging from 1 to 19. That does include us. So if you pick one of us, Michael had his hand up first.
Didn't I have my hand up first?
Well,
Am I allowed to enter? Why can't I enter?
well, we did tell you to, but you didn't. So, and you can't win. So,
Okay, I haven't entered, so now I can actually pick the number without being fair.
Sure.
Okay, 1 to 19.
1 to 19.
Yeah, 19. Okay, I'm gonna go with number 11.
Okay, pick another one because that was on the other hoof.
Number 4.
Number 4 is Nick Crossland.
Hey.
One of the good guys. Nick Crossland has won a scratch map that Callum also has as well. Twinsies.
Yeah.
And now Callum needs to buy Adam a mankini, and then you and Adam can be twinsies.
In Adam already.
No,
2018 Christmas.
absolutely not.
Adam, be warned.
Whoever gets Adam, mankini.
Yeah.
Make
No.
sure it's an ugly lime green as well. Gents, it has been an absolute pleasure being back once again. And we talked earlier. Obviously, it's been a long year as well. Plenty of good things happen. Obviously, one of the bad things that everyone will know about is Adam's mum sadly passed away a few months ago. We'd like to dedicate this show to Kath as well. And Adam, I think you want to say a few words as well.
Yes, I do. Well, it was between Cheltenham and Aintree it happened, and it couldn't have been the worst time in my life. But I'd like to thank you three and everybody who watched this show, who made my life a million times better. I can't name everybody because I'd be here all night. But at that time, my world was ruined. And then 2 weeks later, we went to Aintree. One for Arthur won the Grand National, and I realised then I had a guardian angel. And then I have to relate to this. I'm sorry for after timing, but in the last race, there was a horse called Chesterfield. My mum used to work there. It bolted up by 10 lengths, but it was one of them surreal moments that won't happen again. But it was so weird. But I'd like to thank everybody for their support, their kind words, their actions, whatever you did to help me. It was greatly appreciated. And I'm going to go out and get drunk tonight and have a good time. And remember my mum for being the great human being she was. 2 parents rolled into one. She was amazing. God bless you, Kath. Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas to Zara and Steve through this time. And
Charlie the dog as well. He's been spoiled.
And Charlie the dog as well, of course. And of course, Adam, I need to congratulate you on winning the lot on one for us. Also,
there we go. That was a great moment. That, I mean, when he jumped 3 out, I sort of screamed like a high-pitched girl, like I knew he was going to win. And my mates were going, calm down. I said, I know, but he's just made about 20 lengths up in about 3 fences. And my Joe, who entered our On the Other Hoof sweepstake once, she backed Cause of Causes, and I was yelling many expletives as he chased him home up the running after him. But yeah, it was a good day, and it was needed at the time. So yeah.
Yeah, I think a few others might have backed on the back of your say. So I do remember, racing families aren't just for Christmas, they're for life.
Yes.
Unfortunately for you, you're stuck with us for quite a while now. Guys, thank you very much for your help. Really enjoyed this.
I have as well. We need to do more. We always say it every year. We need to do more. Yeah, and then we don't.
We'll try, whether it happens or not.
I think we should. I reckon we do a Cheltenham preview, like a bumper Cheltenham preview, not just like split them up. We do one whole preview, like the Sunday before Cheltenham.
I will see you guys in 365 days.
Oh, you lazy bugger.
But no, honestly, thank you guys for turning up. Thank you everyone for watching as well. Thank you everyone for getting involved. We hope you have a fantastic Christmas and an even better New Year as well. And more importantly, I hope it's profitable as well. From everyone here at On the Other Hoof, a very happy Christmas.